Howdy Tanglers, Gay Pogue here. Today we are going to talk about strings and play with strings and draw our own strings. The magical thing about Zentangle is the process and the unpredictable outcomes. The string is what guides that process. It creates the Zen flow and keeps us from having to make too many decisions. If you're going to have a satisfying Zentangle practice, you need to be able to create your own strings with confidence. Remember, the lines are only a suggestion. That is why we do them in pencil. Laying down the string should be quick and unplanned. Later, when we're creating a piece of Zentangle-inspired art, maybe we will do more planning with our string. But for now, let's just go with our immediate inspiration. The idea is to get that string down and start tangling. Be clear about it though. I don't just want to string you along here. So let's get tangling. Let's begin today by doing a little prep work for the rest of this lesson. Grab a sheet of letter-sized paper that is blank on one side. Then take a 3.5 inch tile and let's lay them on here and trace around each tile and do them so that there are 6 spaces traced. And in the end it will look like this. Now pause the video to get that done and then start the video back up again. See you in a minute. Now I want to show you something. I have cut a piece of yarn. It's about 18 inches long, I guess. And I am going to drop that yarn onto the desk. And do you see how it lands? Actually, the yarn should be a string, but I wanted you to be able to see it real well here. But that is the way a string falls. And look at those shapes it makes. Each time a little different. It might depend on how fast we drop it and on how slowly we drop it as to how it ultimately ends up. Well, when I talk about a string, that's what I'm talking about. Think about that way that a string might fall, and we can put that in the middle of our tile and then use these spaces to fill in with tangles. Now, I don't expect you to go around all the time dropping strings on your paper every time you want to create a tangle. But we're going to try to approximate something like that as we move along. And the main thing I want to do today is to give you confidence in what you're doing. Strings can be anything. There is no right or wrong way to do them. So on this first tile up here, I want you to take your pencil. Let's create our borders. Put your dots in. Like that. And then let's put down a string without thinking about it really that is made up of one continuous stroke. So just there we go. If it goes outside the lines, so be it. Leave it. On the second tile, I want you to add the dots and the border. And then create us a string that's made up of many different strokes, not just one continuous one. So maybe a line there, a line there, a little line here, a line like that, and something like that. Just little strokes, straight. On the third tile, let's put down our dots and our borders. And then create a string with mostly curvy lines. So separate lines, but mostly curvy lines. So we can go, like this, like that, or something. You see how each of these now look different. On this fourth tile, let's put down our dots and our border and fill it in with mostly straight lines. Like that. Finally, on these bottom two, I'd like you to explore drawing the strings on these tiles without first putting down dots and a border. So just leave it open. If you want to, you can always add a border later, or maybe you won't. Not every tile has a border, even though I kind of like borders. So there we go. We have now different kinds of strings that we've created, different ways of creating them. And I want you to just take this now and lay it aside. And then I would like you to come over here and pick up some tiles, and we will begin our tangling. Now let's grab 3 actual tiles and put them in front of us. Then, now I'm going to have to just trust you. I want you to close your eyes and think back to the exercise that we did at the beginning with the string. And I want you to envision that string falling randomly onto the blank sheet. Now open your eyes. Take the first tile. Let's draw our dots and the border. Just do it. And put down a string that is one continuous stroke. Okay, that's mine. Look at it, set it aside, grab that second one. Let's not belabor this. On our second tile, let's put down our dots, our borders, I'm kind of rushing through this because I don't want you to think about it. I just want you to do it. I want you to create a string that is made up of many different strokes. So just, they can be rounded, they can be straight, or maybe even curly. Okay, put that aside. Take the third tile and create a string without putting down any border at all. Just kind of let it float on the tile. Let's do that now. Just there we go. No border. Now lay these in front of you and admire your work and say, I can do my own strings now. I don't have to have somebody else do them for me. And there we are. Now let's take a tile, pick one of them, and we're going to start our tangling finally. I don't know. I'm having a hard time here. I think I'm going to go with this one. But you pick whatever one you want. And I hope it does not look like mine. I want you to find a space on this card that looks like crescent moon. Remember crescent moon, we've used it several times. It's this tangle right here, crescent moon, with the little ladybugs and then the O-ring. So let's find a spot that looks like it would be good for that. I'm just wondering. I think I'm gonna put it right here in the middle. And I'm gonna go ahead and create a space using the string that I have where I'm going to put crescent moon. Remember, the string is just a suggestion. It's not ironclad. You can use the string or you can choose not to use the string. You can use 2 spaces with 1 tangle, or you can divide a space up and put 2 tangles in it. Doesn't really matter. It's your string. But I'm going to do this. And so you find a space that you are comfortable with and just put crescent moon in it. Just like we did back in the first lesson. Only this time you're working with your own string. Okay, a nice crescent moon. Now I'm going to show you a new tangle, a good one for those long ovals that you might find in some of your beautiful strings. It's called Perk, P-U-R-K, and was created by Zentangle headquarters. You can see we've got this oval and we make these little lines that can wrap around that oval like that, and then between them we put these small pearl like looking things, and if we want to, we can fill in the little interstices. You can embellish it in all sorts of ways, but we're going to take this simple first step, and we're just going to do it on our tile right now. Pick something that looks like this. If you need to just ignore some lines to put it in, it's quite all right. Let's grab our micron pen and get busy here. So I'm just going to make kind of a backward S. It comes around like that, and then like that, and then come down a bit and do another one, like there's a ribbon or something wrapped around this thing. These ribbons can be made as wide or as narrow as you like, and you can embellish the ribbons further if you like or not. Around Christmas time, when I'm working in color, I often embellish, over embellish, I think you would probably say, but it's fun either way. So now I'm going to put some ovals, and I'm going to start down the middle here to kind of get them lined up on a long ovals, beads, some sort of interesting beads. And then we're going to work out and fill in those spaces. And as we get over toward the edges, we can make them thinner and thinner, and it'll enhance that feel of 3D, which I kind of think is fun. So we just squeeze it right in there. I'm going to turn my card around so that I can do them from the other side. In some ways, this tangle reminds me of a pine cone. I don't really know why, but it does. Maybe it's because it's kind of the shape of a pine cone when its little leaves are closed. Now I think I'm going to go ahead and fill in these interstices here, like we've done before. Now I have one more tangle I want to show you today. This is not a difficult tangle. I almost didn't make a step out card for it, but I thought, well, I really should. It is a whole bunch of little orbs squashed together or spread out in a line. You just put down an orb and then put down some more orbs. They can be all different sizes or any size or all the same. It's just orbs. And They are very useful on just about any tile. So I'm going to show you what I would do on here. I am right now not sure what I'm going to put in these other places, but once I get those places filled, I think I might put in some tipple. I think one of the secrets of tipple is to close your orbs. Let me show you a little bit what I'm talking about. So it's easy to just get in a hurry and kind of do them every which way, and they look kind of ragged. Instead, make your circles or your orbs very deliberately and come back around and close it. And it will add a great deal of quality to your tile. See here, I wasn't doing it. But you can always go back and fix it. So I might just fill that in. You can fill in the interstices or not. I might put some around here. I'm going to wait and see to what I put down next. Now I want to show you something. I'm keeping track of the tiles that we have, of the tangles we have done so far. And we've done Crescent Moon, Bales, Hollyball, Printemps, Jetties, and Shattuck. And today we added Perk and Tipple. Now some of you eager beaver students may have gone out and found you a bunch more tangles that you just love. And so if you have new ones that you just want to hurry up and put in a tile, feel free to use them. But everybody that's watched the first 3 videos and now this one should have at least 8 tangles to choose from. So then what I want you to do is pick them out and put them in these other spots. You can repeat if you like. You could put another perk somewhere. You can add some tipple here and there. You might want to put some jetties out on the edges, or run some Shattuck down. We could make this one space and put Shattuck in there. All kinds of ways that we could use these. You could do a bunch of hollyball over here. Whatever you want. I'm going to sit here and figure this out for myself. And after I've got my tile pretty well done, I'm going to come back, and I want you to wait and do yours first before you come back and pick up from this point. So again, where did I put my little pause button? Here it is. Let's pause, and when we have finished doing all of our tangling, pick up, and then we'll start working on our shading and maybe add a little border too. So, pause. Okay. It is now for me the next day. I took a while at this and really enjoyed the Zen flow. So let's see about, well, what I've done first maybe. I had already put this and this in, I think. And then I took 2 spaces and I put this shattuck in here. Then I got started with Printemps, and somehow Printemps turned in to jetties and then into Tipple, and you know how that went. And then over here is Bales, and Bales, I decided I wanted a little more light in there, so I didn't shade it in the both ways. Okay, well, I'm just thinking I'm not going to put much of a border around it. I had thought about doing a border with Tipple, but maybe what we'll just do is we'll aura the entire outer edge of the tile and call that our border. I may have already said this at some point, but there's a saying in Zentangle, when in doubt, aura. So that's what we're doing. A little more auraing. Down the road, I think I'm going to have a number of lessons about borders, and that should be a lot of fun. Sometimes the focus of the whole tile is the borders, and you just put something very tiny in the frame. Lots of fun. Okay, now I'm going to pick up my graphite pencil and start shading. And I think basically what I'm going to do is just shade the edges of things a little bit, like that. And then gently work that graphite into it. I'm going to kind of shade as I go today. I mean, use the tortillon as I go today. Then, pretty standard shading pattern for this shattuck. Okay. And now I think I'm going to let this one kind of sink into the background a little bit. maybe just a little bit where they overlap. After you've been shading a while, there's often enough graphite in the tip of your tortillon to do quite a bit of shading without the pencil. Okay, we can hold this out at arm's length a little bit and see what we've got. I still haven't quite decided what to do with this hollow boss section. There are any number of things. I can just shade on the tops of these where they overlap. I could fill in the whole thing except for the planks with black ink. I could put some other tangle underneath, or I could slip in some tipple here and there. Maybe I don't want to lose that whole area of white, but maybe some tipple here and there just to decorate it. We'll do several things. It'll bring that what's on the edge into this picture, forming a kind of a segue into it. And we don't have to fill it in all the way, just maybe a few here and there, around the edges, to soften. Just to let you know, I tangled on this last evening with you all. I did a little bit more before I went to supper. And then when I got up this morning, I sat here with my coffee and did a few more things, filling in some gaps, added some more lines into this hollow bar area. Okay, this is beginning to look like something, I think. So, with a couple more, I'll just leave it there. Maria and Rick talk about letting the tile tell us what to do, and not stressing about what we're going to do next, but letting the tile speak to us. And it's really a pleasant experience. It takes the pressure off of you. If the tile doesn't say put something over here, you can just say, well, I guess it didn't want anything over there, and we'll just leave it blank. Okay. I'm going to call this done and put my chop on the front, my brand, and then turn it over. Get out our cheat sheet here. We can put the names of the Zentangle, of the tangles that we used on the back. So I used Crescent Moon. Yours will be different. I used Bales. I used Holly Ball. I used Perk and Tipple. Oh, I used Printemps, Shattuck, and Jetties. I guess I used them all. I went a bit overboard probably. Now I'm going to sign it and put my date on it. Today is September the 6th, 2023. And as far as a note goes, I'm going to say I made my own string and then tangled it. All right. Turn that back over. And there you have it. I'm going to give you a little bit of homework this time. Your homework involves, let me see if I can find them here. Your homework involves taking these other two tiles that you put strings on and putting tangles in them and tangling it. It'll give you something to do before I come out with my next video for you, which will be more about strings actually. We're going to dive a little deeper. So, take care of yourselves and tangle on.